Hello, this is part 3 of my Resistance Order tier list. In the first part, I ranked all of the Reaper Order. In the second one, the Skirmisher Order. Now let's finish with the Templar Order. Before I start, my criteria for this tier list is going to assume you are playing on Legend Ironman, and the order will be sorted out from left to right, best to worst within the tier. Art of War, ability point gained by promotion are increased by 25%. While ability points are very useful, I'm personally of the opinion that through the course of a run, you organically gain enough AP. But even if you wanted more, this order won't give you that much more extra AP. Another problem with Art of War is that you don't gain AP retroactively, meaning a colonel won't get those extra AP if you equip this order after they ranked up. There is another order from Templars that fulfill Art of War job much better. Not a good start for Templar. Art of War, you can go in the D tier. Bond of War. Soldiers' bond grow 25% faster. Similar to what I said about Art of War, I just think that bonds grow... Similar to what I said about Art of War, I just think that bonds grow fast enough as is, making this order redundant. You also have soldier bond covered up that allow you to form bond instantly, making this order frankly unnecessary. So that's another one I will go into D tier. Deeper Learning. Soldier XP gains are increased by 10 and 20% respectively. Before I explain, disclaimer, I play with a mod that removes covered up stat reward, including instant promotion, so I do hold bias in favor of this one. Deeper Learning is the primary example of a snowball order, and it's going to be a recurring theme with Templars orders in general. By gaining extra XP, it allows your soldier to reach higher rank sooner, which result in them performing better, meaning you should be taking less wounds, thus you can send those soldiers without wounds interruption, resulting from my experience to a much higher XP gain than what is actually listed on the card. It is also great for your lower rank soldier because it allowed them to catch up to those higher ranks quicker, making them spend less time in those sucky rank. Naturally, Deeper Learning is at its best when obtained at the start of a run with a Templar start. Deeper Learning is actually one of my favorite order, and I'm always happy to see it in my game. So, Deeper Learning 1, you will go in the A tier, and Deeper Learning 2 will be our first S tier. Feedback. Psionic attack on XCOM unit will cause damage to the caster. I hate how unclear this order is. Like, you probably are wondering how much damage Feedback does. Feedback deals 4 damage, which isn't bad when you consider you have to do nothing on your part to activate it. The enemy this order can affect are Sectoid, Priest, Codex, Gatekeeper, Avatar, and the Warlock. Of those enemy, Feedback make a difference versus Sectoid and Codex. Sectoid on Legend have 10 HP, and because this is a Templar order, let's assume you started with Templar. Well, if a Sectoid mind spins someone else than a Templar, it will set up that Sectoid to be killed by the Templar, even with no focus. Normally, for getting the same result to support a Templar, you are required to either hit the Sectoid or grenade them, so here Feedback helps with early game action economy, which is nice. Codex on Legend have 13 HP, and they love to Psybomb your clustered unit, so more often than not, Feedback will do 8+ damage to a Codex, leaving it low enough HP to only need one more shot. Feedback isn't game changer, but it's nice and funny enough to deserve to go in the B tier. Greater Resolve. Lightly wounded soldier can be sent into combat. Greater Resolve is by no means a good order, but one case I find it alright is when you have a soldier you really want to send who just got hurt for like 1 or 2 points of damage and is out for 10 days. Well, thanks to Greater Resolve, you can send that soldier like nothing happened to them, assuming they are high enough rank. Starting a mission with 1 or 2 HP missing should be okay. Greater Resolve for this niche case can go in the C tier. Hidden Reserve. Gain an additional +2 and +3 power on the Avenger respectively. Hidden Reserve can come in handy when you really need to build or upgrade a facility but have no power available. Slot this in while you are building your power relay, and when it's done you can slot it out. Another case this is nice is that it can act as a pseudo engineer by allowing you to not need to slot in an engineer in your power relay. Hidden Reserve is not great, but on rare occasion can prove useful. Can go in this D tier for the first one, and C tier for the second one, respectively. Machine learning. Research breakthrough are twice as likely to occur. Some breakthrough are very good, such as assault rifle, shotgun, cannon, sniper, pistol damage breakthrough, as well as instant excavation. If you're actively seeking those out, the two options you have to increase your odds of them spawning is to either build a laboratory or slot this order in. If you want to do so, it's better to do it in the late game, mainly because in the late game you won't need as much the high tier orders such as sabotage, resistance network, etc., leaving open slot for machine learning. There's also the fact that in the late game, your key research are going to be completed, giving you plenty of time to pursue those breakthrough. Machine learning, like the previous two, will go in the C tier. Actually, we'll put it above these two. Mental Fortitude. All battle madness only lasts one turn. Most of these effects, except for panic, only happen when you send tired soldier on a mission, making this order super niche already. I think what hurts this order the most though is the existence of Mind Shield, rendering this completely irrelevant. One thing to note though is that the way turn works in XCOM is both XCOM turn and alien turn each count as an individual turn. Most instances of mental status effect are going to happen on the alien turn, meaning on your turn the effect will be removed. I don't think mental fortitude is super useful, so you can go chill in this C tier. I'll put you here. Noble Cause. Will recovery in all soldier is 20% faster. Noble Cause is similar to deeper learning in that it's a snowball order. Like explained before, by allowing you to reduce the time your soldier are tired, you can send them more frequently, meaning they will be higher rank sooner, making your team in general take less wound because they're better. With that said, Noble Cause is weaker than deeper learning because the mission in XCOM 2 are spaced out enough that usually a soldier have enough time to recover by the time a mission pop. I still like Noble Cause, so you can go in the B tier. Pursuits of knowledge. Laboratory facilities provide an additional 20% boost to research time, as well as breakthrough. I've mentioned a few times how ballistic modeling and impact modeling are being powercrapped by an order. Well, this is the one. If I had to guess the overall ranking of this order by the community, I would assume most would put Pursuits of Knowledge at around B tier. Well, if you think Pursuits of Knowledge is not great, now is my time to play devil's advocate and explain to you why Pursuits of Knowledge is literally S tier. First, let's talk about the laboratory itself. As a facility, it is at its best when built as soon as possible, so ideally laboratory first, which leads to the problem that you would have to delay the GTS in the ring to build your lab. This leads to a few misconceptions most players have with build order, being that the GTS first into ring is the only build order that exists in XCOM, when that factually is false. To prove my point, just look at challenge run, such as 4-man, 3-man, etc. The laboratory is always the very first facility built. The reality is that you don't need a GTS as your first facility, especially when you consider that Pursuits of Knowledge, by being a Templar order, indirectly beg you to start with Templar who at the start of a run are absurdly game-breaking thanks Templars who at the start of a run are absurdly game-breaking thanks to parry. When you fill the Templar on a mission, you are essentially sending the equivalent of a 5-man due to how busted they are at this stage of the game. But then okay, what do you do with all that lightning fast research speed? That's where the beauty of the laboratory lies, because it's really open up to you. You want to rush plasma weaponry? Thanks to this order, I've managed to do it by the time advents are deploying Spectre. You want to do psionic without slowing everything else down? You can, because your research speed is so fast. And because you are finishing your research much sooner in your playthrough, the laboratory in the late game can be turned into an intel farm, because you can use all those data pad and alien cache for intel. The only downsides of Pursuits of Knowledge is that it forces you into a build order that demand the player to play properly, as well as knowing how to use a Templar properly. But that aside, it's easily the most underrated order in the entire game, and I don't think there's any other that comes remotely close to being slept on by the community. Stay with me. Soldiers are much more likely to bleed out rather than die when their health drops to 0. I was originally going to put this order in C tier because, while quite niche, I thought it's better than nothing, until I went and checked the bleed out chance formula. So normally there is a 1% chance to bleed out instead of dying for every point of will over 50. Stay with me increased this chance to 2% per point of will over 50. The will stat is random for each soldier, but the thing is, most won't even have a will above 50. In other words, stay with me does basically nothing. So with that said, the current tier list format is missing an appropriate tier for such a garbage order. So let me address that real quick. Now, stay with me can go where it rightfully belongs, in the F tier. Suit up. All armor and vest project in the Proving Grounds are completed instantly. Suit up is the Templar equivalent of munition experts and bomb squad. Vests are weaker than experimental ammo and heavy weapon, but armor have good use. It won't save you that much time, but being able to craft war suits and raid suit is nice enough for suit up to go in the C tier. Tithe. Research rewards on haul missions are increased by 15%. Tithe increase the amount of supply and intel from mission reward. These mission reward tends to be the one you take the least because in general, engineer and scientists are better. One thing I'm not entirely sure honestly is, does Tithe affect the amount of resource you get from supply raid? I'm going to rank Tithe assuming it does. If so, it can go into B tier. But if not, then I would drop it down to the C tier. Trial by fire. Double the ability point gain in combat. When I talked about Art of War, I alluded to another doing what it does but better. Well, this is it. The main source of AP is from killing Chosen, who every time you put them down gives you 5 AP, but with Trial by Fire, this will go up to 10, allowing you to amass a large amount of AP in no time. I've heard some player who purposely start with Templar for this order and keep the Chosen alive just to farm AP from them. Personally, this isn't my style. As I said, with Art of War, the game gives you enough already, but I do recognize that Trial by Fire is great. So, Trial by Fire can go in the A tier. Vengeance. When a squad mate dies, the entire squad receives random bonus for 2 turns. Vengeance is so bad. All I will do is put it in the F tier and just move on. Alright, we have arrived at the end of this Resistance Order trilogy. Here is all of the Resistance Order from all of the factions sorted out. I hope you guys have enjoyed these 3 videos. And yeah, I'll see you guys later. Thanks for watching. Bye bye.